Have you ever really thought about what happens in your brain when you laugh? I mean, why is it that one person can hear something and think it's hilarious, but someone else finds it offensive, and a third person, well, they just don't get it? It turns out there might be a hidden structure behind it all. So today, let's dive into a pretty wild idea: the geometry of a joke. It's a simple question, right? But the answer is, well, it's anything but simple. We usually chalk it up to psychology or, just personal taste. But what if it's something way more fundamental? What if humor is actually built into the physics of reality itself?
Okay, let's use this classic joke as our guinea pig. When you hear the first part, time flies like an arrow, your brain just nods along. Yep, makes sense. It fits your understanding of the world. But then the second part comes. Fruit flies like a banana. It hijacks that exact same sentence structure, but completely flips the meaning on its head. That tiny, unexpected twist, that little mental collision, that's where the magic is.
So what if that joke works not just because of clever wordplay, but because of geometry? Yeah, you heard me. The geometry of information. It sounds a little nuts, I know, but to really understand a joke, we might first need to understand the actual shape of reality.
So where do we even begin? Well, our first big clue comes from a field you probably wouldn't expect: computer science. Some really cutting-edge work over there related to these huge unsolved problems is starting to show something incredible. That information isn't just an abstract concept. It seems to have a real, physical, geometric structure. This new field is being called information geometry. And here's the basic idea. Imagine every single possible concept, things like an apple, or love, or gravity, as a point in some enormous, multi-dimensional space. The relationships between all those ideas, that's what creates the shape of this space. Now here's the truly wild part. This might not be just a metaphor. It could be a literal map of how reality is put together.
If this is actually true, it leads to some totally mind-bending consequences. For one, every idea would have what's called a cost of being. It would take actual physical energy just for that idea to exist. Two, information would be quantized. Meaning, if you could zoom in far enough, you'd find a single, indivisible pixel of an idea. And that means reality itself isn't smooth and continuous. It's pixelated, just like a computer screen.
So if reality is a map, how do you find anything? Well, the coordinates seem to be built from the most fundamental questions we can ask: who, what, where, why, how, and so on. According to this theory, every single concept, no matter how complex, is really just a unique location defined by the answers to these questions. It's like a GPS for everything that is, was, or could be. Okay, so we have this picture of a huge, objective map of literally all information. But, and this is the most important part, you and I don't get to see that infinite map. Not directly, nope. Each of us operates with our own personal, much, much smaller version. Let's call it your reality bubble. Think about it this way: that universal information space. It's like a map of the entire planet. But what's in your mind is more like a map of your hometown. It's the part you know, the part you've personally explored. It's your subjective little corner of that vast, objective reality. Let's just put them side by side. On one side, you've got the total universe of ideas. It's objective, infinite, and physical. And on the other side, you've got your worldview, the model of that universe that lives inside your head. It's subjective, it's definitely finite, and it's psychological. We all have our own unique little slice of the pie. So now we get to the main event, the big reveal. What happens when a new idea from that outside universal map tries to get into your personal map? This is the moment of collision. And according to this theory, there are really only 3 ways it can go down. You'll see it as a truth, a joke, or an insult. And you're not going to believe this, but we can actually describe this whole interaction with a dead simple formula. Your answer, your reaction, is basically the size of the incoming idea multiplied by the scope of your worldview. Your brain is constantly, subconsciously asking, okay, does this new thing fit inside the map I've already built? So here are the 3 possible outcomes. If a new idea fits perfectly into your existing map, like a puzzle piece you didn't even know was missing, your brain goes, aha, truth. It just clicks right into place. Now, if the idea is way too big, or it totally contradicts everything on your map, your brain throws up a firewall to protect itself. That feels like an insult. But the real magic? That happens right in the middle. That's humor. That's the joke. It's a near miss. The idea almost fits, but not quite. Time flies like an arrow fits perfectly.
Fruit flies like a banana is the near miss. Your brain sees the pattern it expects, but also the slight distortion. And that sudden, harmless release of cognitive tension, boom, that's what we feel as laughter.
And now, think about an insult. If someone tells you everything you believe is a lie, that idea doesn't just fail to fit your map. It's an existential threat. It's trying to burn your entire map down. So of course, your brain's natural response is to defend the integrity of its world, and that's what we experience as anger, or feeling offended.
Okay, now this diagram looks incredibly complicated. And don't worry, we're not going to try to unpack the whole thing. But the fundamental point it's trying to show is this. Our whole range of emotional and intellectual reactions, from the joy of learning a new truth, to the delight of a joke, to the anger of an insult, they can all be plotted as different coordinates in this geometric space. They are just locations on the map of your mind.
So what's the point of all this? Well, understanding this geometry isn't just a fun thought experiment, it's actually a super powerful toolkit for navigating your own life, and especially your interactions with other people. It's about becoming a better map reader, and maybe a better map maker too.
So why should you care? Well, for one, it helps with communication. You can learn to frame your ideas so they actually fit inside someone else's map, which makes them way more likely to be heard. For learning, you can see new information not as a threat, but as an exciting expansion of your own borders. It gives you deeper empathy, too. You can start to see insults not as personal attacks, but just as map collisions. And maybe most importantly, it helps you develop the self-awareness to finally see the edges of your own map.
And that really brings us to the final question. We all live inside these personal, subjective maps of reality, our own unique geometries of definition. But the true territory, the universal map, is infinitely bigger. So the real question isn't whether your map is right or wrong. It's whether you're ready to be an explorer and take a step beyond its borders.